Chosen one of Canada, this message has found you by divine appointment and not by accident. The universe does not miss, and heaven does not miscalculate timing. You looked at this because a door is opening across this northern nation, and something that has been delayed for a long time is now moving forward. Don't scroll any further. The way you feel is real. You feel like you need to change. Your spirit is restless, and you know deep down that something bigger is calling your name across the vast expanse from coast to coast. This is not a mistake. This is destiny calling, and it's just in time. You, my chosen one of the true north, are at a crossroads right now. Which path do you choose? The one you know leads to what you were born to do. For you, this is a kairos moment, which means it's the right time. The Bible says in Ecclesiastes 3:1 that there is a time for everything under heaven. This verse from Habakkuk 2:3 says that the vision will not lie and will wait for the right time. Things that used to feel slow are moving faster in heaven right now. Things that couldn't happen before can happen now, tonight, or in the days to come. Dear Anointed One, children of the maple leaf, listen, this is a holy call. In Isaiah 60:22, it says that the Lord will make it happen quickly when the time is right. Your faith is growing. Things are coming together, and your spirit is getting ready to receive what your life has been leading you to. Pay close attention because God's reminders don't always come with an explanation. They can be a quiet place to go back to when you feel like you don't have much strength left. In the description, there is a small, quiet area in case you ever need to go back there before we go on. Sometimes in life, chosen one walking on Canadian soil, heaven gets quiet. It's not that nothing is happening, but that everything is falling into place. Now is one of those times. You're not standing in the dark. There was a sign here pointing you in the right direction a long time ago. One path keeps you in the places you know, can handle, and can explain. Something deeper inside you is drawn to the other path. You can't fully explain it, but you also can't ignore it. The faint electricity in your chest is not your imagination. Honor is what it is. Everything I have covered across this channel is now in one place. The prayers, the teachings, the daily blessings. It is all inside the Daily Miracle Manual. Link in the description. Please know that every seed you plant in this mission grows into a torch that shines in someone else's darkness. Whether by buying a coffee, making a donation, or becoming a member of our community, does not go to a channel. Your actions are supporting a divine mission to save lost souls. But more than your support, we want your presence. When you head to our community through the link in the description or the pinned comment, you aren't just visiting a site, you are entering a community of like-minded believers. This is a sanctuary where you can post your prayer requests, lift up the burdens of others, and engage in daily discussions with a family that speaks the language of faith. Whether you are joining one of our membership tiers for deeper study, sowing a seed of faith, or simply joining our daily morning prayers, you are helping us build an altar of worship. Heaven moves through willing voices, but it grows through a community that stands together. Each gift you give acts as living water for those in our community seeking healing and hope. Give, and it will be given to you, is the promise that sustains our shared mission. I invite you now, my beloved sons and daughters of Canada, to step out of the shadows and into this circle of prayer. Come with purpose, join the conversation, and plant your seed in fertile ground. Let's open the heavens together. Release your seed today. Join our community and see what God brings back into your life. Your spirit can tell when the truth is close by. Anointed one of the Great Lakes and Prairies, this message is not meant to be fun for you. To back up what you've been feeling in private, it's here. Do not ignore this chance. Don't try to explain it away. I've done that before. Every time I tried to ignore the shaking, life got tighter. I told myself it was just restlessness, stress, or too much thinking. I listened every time, even when it scared me. And doors opened that made no sense. Your mind may try to keep you from being let down, but your spirit knows when prayer is from heaven. Take a moment. Take a deep breath in. Take a moment to notice your body. There has already been a change. That alone should show you that this isn't a mistake. Heaven doesn't bother people who aren't working. It only steps in when the time is right. The Bible says that there is a time for everything under heaven, and this is not a practice run. This is the appointed hour which is pressing against your mind. Chosen one, you who dwell from the Rockies to the shores of Newfoundland. You've had the feeling for months or even years that you were meant for more. But you didn't know what that more looked like. You saw other people get into routines that seemed to make them happy, and you wondered why you could never seem to find peace. Comfort made me feel stifled. It felt heavy to be stable. You asked yourself why you did that. I asked myself the same thing. I thought something was wrong with me because I felt like I was going to pass out if I stayed small. But it was never a rebellion. Yes, it was recognition. Even if your life hasn't caught up to who you are yet, your soul does. Nothing was meant to punish you for every delay, closed door, or season when nothing seemed to move. It was getting ready. You learned to be smart during the years that made you thin. The money you lost that you didn't understand freed up space that you could not have made on your own. The deep betrayals showed you who couldn't go with you into what was to come. There was no waste. I can say that now with more clarity than when I was living it. Some nights I felt like I was by myself under the vast Canadian sky. No one could understand. Some nights you had to get your strength from more than just motivation. That's where power comes from. Lonely seasons don't make the chosen weaker. They make them better from the inside out. You are being rebuilt, and what used to scare you can't stop the new version of you. Dear chosen one, what you've been calling anxiety was actually anticipation. Those times when you knew something was going to change but didn't have any proof were not scary. They were lined up. Your intuition has been getting better because you've been putting pressure on it. You're no longer a soft judge. Things and people that used to confuse you are becoming clearer to you. Illusions are starting to slip away. It's getting easier to see patterns. You are finding opportunities in places you used to see as problems. This is waking up, not loud or dramatic, but clear as day. Know how important this moment is before we go any further. Canada, my chosen nation of the North, you have a choice. You can scroll past to go back to autopilot, or you can stay where you are and let this activation finish. Heaven doesn't open doors for us. It gives you thresholds. Your spirit can pick up on this message because it matches the frequency of where you are now, not where you were. This is very important to hear if you've been feeling unusually tired, emotionally sensitive, lonely, or overwhelmed by noise and energy. You're not going to break. You are adjusting again. The new frequency you are stepping into can't work with your old one. That's why some connections feel close to ending. This is why places that used to feel safe now feel like they are draining. When you grow, you have to shed some things. Growth is never easy, but it always has a reason for happening. My beloved of Canada, hear me. Heaven doesn't just raise people up at random. You are being trained for a specific task, a role that no one else can play, and a message that needs to come through your voice across the boreal forest and beyond. But alignment comes before elevation. This season has been taking away identities that helped people stay alive, but were too small for their destiny. Making others happy, working too hard, and carrying things that were never yours. You are being brought back to your essence, layer by layer. Everything will be different after that process is over. It has happened to me. Chances came up without any effort. It was just the right time for resources to happen. The right people came in quietly, not in a big way, but exactly. I didn't even know how to knock on some of the doors that opened. This is not a dream. This is the result of alignment. We are reminded in the Bible that the Lord's plans are for good, not evil. That promise doesn't come early or late. It gets there on time. As I speak, chosen one, you stand on the edge of it. Stay here. That's what the next part will tell you, along with why heaven is speaking now instead of later. Chosen one of the true north, when heaven says it will move, it also says it will test you. Not to rule you out, but to show you what you already have. Because of how big what you are stepping into is, the resistance has been quiet but steady across this vast land. Divine alignment comes before divine transfer, and it always shows you what you can't take with you. This is where a lot of people get the warning wrong. They believe that heaven is dangerous. Heaven is getting ready. Anointed One of Canada, please hear these words well. What is coming into your life has weight, and not just spiritual weight. It has practical weight as well, like responsibility, power, resources, visibility, and provision. Before heaven sends something valuable, it checks the vessel. That's why the pressure rose just before this moment, which is why familiar support stopped being there. That's why you were told to stand alone without cheers. There is no comfort in gold. It gets better in fire. There were times when I wondered if I had missed my chance. I wanted proof, timelines, and guarantees more than anything else. But divine timing doesn't care about how quickly things need to be done. It acts when it's ready. The Bible tells us that the vision waits for the right time, and even if it's late, it won't fail. Delay does not mean no. Delay is progress, and growth is happening in you right now. You, the chosen one walking on Canadian soil, have been tested in places no one else saw. Tested while being held, checked for honesty, checked out in silence. You could have given in and moved faster. You could have sped things up and gotten some short-term relief, but you didn't. No, that wasn't being stubborn. That was smart thinking. Heaven saw every time you put your character ahead of your comfort. Now, those choices are speaking for you. You are getting close to a financial transfer, and this is part of that transfer. Don't get scared when you hear that. Heaven doesn't mind having a lot of things. Lack is not the same as holiness. The important thing is stewardship. You've learned how to hold more without getting too heavy. You know how to deal with stress without getting angry. You know how to keep your cool, even when people don't understand you. This is why people trust you. But please pay attention to this warning, children of the maple leaf. You can't just walk through any door that looks like it's open. When a promotion is about to happen, fake invitations start to show up. There are chances that make you feel good about yourself but hurt your soul. Connections that promise access but need giving in. I've gone into rooms I was excited about, but later I realized they were just distractions that looked like blessings. Now wisdom is more important than enthusiasm. This is the test, chosen one from coast to coast. Are you going to move because something shines, or because it lines up? Which would you pick, speed or accuracy? Heaven is not in a hurry. Heaven is setting you up. When the Bible says that the wealth of the righteous is stored up, it means that things are planned out and ready to go. When something comes out too early, it becomes a burden instead of a blessing. You might feel old fears coming back to the surface right now, feelings that make you wonder if you are capable, worthy, and ready. That is not going backward. That is being exposed. What's on the surface is now leaving. The identity that made it through hardship cannot lead to plenty. You need to learn how to receive from the part of you that learned how to endure. That shift might not feel good. Survival habits don't go away on their own. Holy One of Canada, you are not being told to fight harder. More trust is being asked of you. There's a difference. You will still have to do something, but it will feel different. Not so rushed, but more deliberate. Not so much proving, but more listening. It doesn't feel like force when alignment is right. It feels like flow. Pay attention to what makes you feel calm, even if it's hard. Also, this is why some people might get the wrong idea about how still you are right now. They want things to move, make noise, and be explained. But being quiet is not the same as being still. In silence, instructions are easy to understand. When heaven plans a transfer, it often takes the chosen person's mind off of other things. It wasn't rejection that made you feel alone under the northern lights. It was for safety. Chosen one, this message's warning is not based on fear. It is based on clarity. Don't carry things that you no longer need. Don't try to explain yourself to places that can't hold your future. Do not bring old habits into the new season. It's necessary to leave something behind when you cross a threshold. Please think about this honestly. Would you be able to handle it if tomorrow everything you've been asking for came true? Not just your brain, but also your skills. What you believe and what you can't do. Yes, is becoming the answer from heaven to that question right now. Anointed one of the true north, your obedience in times you couldn't see has made people trust you in the unseen world. That trust is now coming back to you in the form of chance, provision, and clarity. But the final alignment takes place inside of you. When your choices match what you know, when your actions match what you know, it will be easier to get what you want when you stop negotiating with fear and start negotiating with faith. Not to an end, but to a coming into being. This is the only warning. Don't go back now. Do not play down what you carry. Do not hurry what heaven is carefully setting up. Follow me. Next, we'll talk about how to deal with the resistance you're feeling, why it gets stronger right before a breakthrough, and how to keep going without losing yourself. Chosen one. When heaven is close, resistance always speaks loudest. It's not a mistake, and it's not a punishment. It has a pattern. When something big is about to happen in your life, stress rises, doubts get stronger, and there are more things that could distract you. A lot of people think this means they should slow down or go back. In fact, it's proof that the alignment is working. Anointed one, my beloved of Canada, I want to tell you the truth. It's not confusion that you feel right now. It is an increase. It doesn't look like pressure can break something that is weak. It seems to bring out what is strong. Nothing would be stopping you if nothing valuable were growing inside you. The fight back is proof that something is coming into the world. There have been times in my life when everything around me seemed calm, but inside I felt tense. A lot of weight was put on small decisions. Talking about everyday things felt heavy. Places that were familiar felt weird. I thought something was wrong at the time. When I look back, I can see that something was ending. The old self was losing power. That process isn't usually gentle. Chosen one. The old way of doing things doesn't let people go quietly. Patterns that used to keep you safe will try to take back control. Fear will come across as reason. There will be times when doubt looks like wisdom. You might hear voices from the past that remind you of who you used to be, what you struggled with, and what you failed at. Memory like this is not random. It's resistance trying to hold you to an old identity. Don't argue with it. Do not keep thinking about it. Just be aware of it and keep going. There's a reason why pressure is highest just before breakthrough. The Bible tells us that knocking comes before opening, looking comes before finding, asking comes before receiving. That sequence needs movement before it can be sure. Faith isn't just not being afraid. When you have faith, you act without waiting for your fears to go away first. Chosen one, from the Atlantic to the Pacific, many people turn around at this point. They don't think they are weak. They think resistance is a sign of trouble, when it really is a sign of success. They think that problems mean they are on the right track. People who have been chosen often find that difficulty means they are right on it. There is no resistance to stop you. This is a test to see if you'll believe what you know more than what you feel. Anointed one, pay close attention to this. No one has to tell you that you can become who you are becoming. Not from family or friends, and not from groups that wanted you to stay small. One of the last attachments to let go of is the need for approval. It worked for you once. It kept you in touch. It kept you alive. But it can't go with you to the next thing. I remember the moment I realized I was waiting for someone to confirm a choice that heaven had already made sure was right. That wait took longer than any other problem could have. It was quiet when the path opened up after I finally moved without giving an explanation, defending myself, or asking for reassurance. Power doesn't make itself known. It moves. For those who have been chosen, resistance will also test your limits. There may be more push now. Expectations might rise. Old roles may come back and ask you to do things you can't do anymore. It's not that you owe more. You are changing. When you stop doing too much, you can see the imbalance. You don't have to fix that pain. Do not mix up guilt and direction. Even when it's firm, guidance is calm. Guilt is strong and loud. Find out the difference. Heaven guides with clarity, not force. Anointed one of Canada, your nervous system has been trained by going through hard times. When you stay alert, you learn to spot danger and get ready for loss. Those skills kept you alive, but they can't make you rich for what you're about to do. You need a calm, not a guarded spirit. We don't know how to rest right now because of this. This is why peace seems a little sketchy. A new way of being is being taught to you. There will be times when resistance tries to force you back into proving, overworking, and explaining. Take a break. Take deep breaths. Alignment doesn't need to be scary. Heaven doesn't shake when it moves. It tells. Chosen one, the warning in this message is not about being afraid of failing. It's about being aware of the time. Try to control this season, but don't end it. Don't give up on the process just because the pressure feels strange. You're not behind schedule. You're not behind. You are exactly where the change can be seen. The identity that could handle chaos is being swapped out for one that can handle peace. That change can be confusing, but it has to happen. Breakthrough isn't just about doors opening. It's also about making more room for things. Hold on here. Do not fall back on old ways of coping. Do not dull the feelings you are supposed to have. Allow the stress to show you where you are still holding on. Allow the resistance to show you what needs to be let go of. Chosen one, this is the point where many people hesitate. But you didn't come all this way just to stop at the door. We'll talk about alignment, how to tell when heaven is making room, and how to move forward without carrying things that don't belong to you in the next. Picked one of Canada, there comes a time when the hard part is no longer facing the truth. Now you know what's real. You know what is going to change. You already know what you're getting ready for. When nothing seems to be happening on the surface, it can be hard to stay present. There, you learn to be strong. Not the kind that makes a lot of noise, but the kind that shows up over and over again without any praise. Anointed one of the true north, you thought the wait would be shorter. Not because heaven wasn't sure, but because it takes time to get to the source. Believing something is different from having it in your body. In an instant, conviction takes place. On days that seem normal, weeks that feel like they've already been said, and times of the year when faith needs to be lived out more than spoken about, embodiment happens. This is where a lot of people get tired, not because they doubt the promise, but because they need to be strong to hold on to hope. I'm going to name what you might not have said out loud. You are honest, but you're worn out. You believe, but sometimes your faith makes you feel heavy. You did the right things without needing to be praised right away. You've stayed aligned without any clear reward. People with that kind of faith are tired in a way that no one else can see. Heaven knows about it. Dear chosen one, endurance isn't about hard work. It's about going back to what keeps you stable when your mood changes. Intensity does not keep alignment going. Consistency keeps it going. This is why big changes often happen after long periods of what seems like stillness across the Canadian wilderness. Even though the surface doesn't change, the roots are still growing. During my own waiting, there were days when I didn't need another revelation. I needed to be stable. There had to be something familiar that would keep me steady when everything else seemed uncertain. During that time, I learned that simple, repeated reminders are often more helpful for faith than constant explanations or big signs. In those times, a lot of people turn to the Bible not to think deeply about it, but to find a single word that speaks to them right where they are. There are times when one line is stronger than a whole sermon. Picked one. Children of the maple leaf, this isn't going backward. That's rhythm. When you press return, you're not stuck. It means that you have roots. Heaven doesn't use progress to judge how things are going. There is growth even when there isn't anything new to notice, especially then. In the description and the pinned comment, there is a small reminder that you can use whenever you feel like you need something still and familiar to hold you down in those quiet times. Now, pay close attention. You are not just sitting there waiting. Trust that you act on every time you choose honesty over rash decisions, calmness over excitement, and straight lines over shortcuts. You strengthen the structure that will hold what is coming. You can't become emotionally stable overnight, because the future you're stepping into needs it. That's why this season called for stability instead of excitement. Chosen one, walking on Canadian soil. Don't forget how powerful it is to stay grounded, honest, and open, even when your excitement wanes. The promise doesn't go away just because the feeling does. Mood is like the weather. Calling is the climate. You might feel strong some days. Some days you might not feel like doing much. Neither decides what will happen. Whatever you do, make sure you get back to center, truth, and what you know, even if what you feel isn't sure. Faith isn't always sure of itself. Faith is sometimes just showing up and not pulling away. Heaven doesn't want you to prove anything right now. Anointed one of the great lakes and prairies, it wants you to keep yourself available. Availability isn't very exciting. Ready in a quiet way. It means keeping your inner posture open, even if things don't seem to be changing in your outer life. This is why this season is not the time to compare. You're not behind because someone moved faster. You're not late because someone else had a celebration earlier. Timing is up to you. Alignment is very clear for what you are being trained to carry. You need a pace that keeps you safe and doesn't put too much stress on you. Dear Chosen One, being tired doesn't mean you should stop. It means to go deeper. Rest without taking a break. Stop without going back. There's a difference. You can let out a breath without leaving the path. Faith is not a glamorous thing to do every day. It looks like choosing to trust again when you had to yesterday. It looks like letting go of results you can't change. It looks like staying grounded when you don't have all the answers. That practice is making you more like that than any one moment could. Heaven waits for things to happen. Heaven is not upset about how tired you are. It knows what it takes to be strong. That's why strength is being restored in a quiet way, not a loud one. You might not feel strong right now, but you are getting stronger. Stability keeps you strong for a lot longer than adrenaline ever could. Picked one. Don't rush through this. Here, you learn how to keep your word without getting tired. At this point, your inner world opens up enough to let what is meant to come in, come in. Stay here. Stay in the present. Return to stay. The next part, we'll talk about how alignment can be seen, how the change inside starts to show on the outside, and how to tell when heaven starts to clear the space around you. To the Chosen One, my beloved of Canada, there comes a time when alignment is no longer something you feel alone, but something you can see around you. It doesn't come with an announcement. It gets there by subtracting. Things that don't fit right start to come loose. Things that used to require work are starting to fade. What was draining you starts to quiet down. This isn't loss. That's all right. Dear Anointed One, heaven makes room before it sends matter. It takes away before it puts back in. Many people get this phase wrong and feel sad about what is going away without noticing what is being set up. Now pay attention. The things that are ending are not being taken from you. They are being let go of you. It's possible that conversations are getting quieter, invitations are getting fewer, expectations going down for no reason. There may be no conflict with some connections going quiet. Others may feel suddenly that they can't be with someone for no clear reason. This is not something you made up. The same way that alignment changes hearts, it changes environments too. What used to help with survival might not help with growth. I remember a time when chances I used to chase stopped calling me back. At first, it felt like being turned down. I found out later that it was redirection. There was no punishment in the silence. It was for safety. Heaven shut the doors out of habit I would have forced open. When alignment goes up, effort goes down. What is meant to meet you doesn't need to be convinced of. Watch what gets easier now, Chosen One dwelling from the Rockies to the Atlantic shores. Keep an eye on places where resistance goes away for no reason. Remember to stop negotiating your worth at a certain point. This is a signal. Heaven talks just as much when things are still as when they are moving. When something is set to arrive, extra weight is taken off so you can carry it. Anointed One, this is also why old distractions might come back for a short time. Not to get you back, but to see how clear you are. You might be given patterns you already know in new packaging. Old dynamics with more gentle language. Old roles with better reasons to do them. In a dramatic sense, this is not temptation. It is a judgment. Will you pick alignment over comfort? Do not mistake sadness for calling. Do not mix up fate and history. The past can knock now, but it can't get where you're going. You don't have to say no out loud. Just don't open something again that's already closed. Dear Chosen One of Canada, as space opens up, You may sometimes feel strangely empty. It makes sense. People who have been responsible for too long feel like they don't know how to use space. You don't need anything else. You're making room. Being quiet does not mean you are not there. It's getting ready. Heaven doesn't fill hands that are full. It fills up empty ones. Again, patience is put to the test, but in a different way. Not the patience to wait when you don't have anything, but the patience to hold space without trying to fill it right away. The need to replace things quickly can get in the way of accuracy. Trust the speed. When something comes early, it needs to be managed early. What shows up on time is supported. Anointed One of Canada. Seeing alignment for the first time doesn't always look like gain. There are times when it looks like simplification. There will be fewer demands, voices, and duties pulling at you. Being simple doesn't mean staying the same. Pay attention. You are not being shrunk. You are being narrowed. Heaven cuts down on noise when it improves purpose. That narrowing keeps power from getting diluted and lets it move cleanly across the true north. Watch how your inner world changes as these things happen. Alignment is working if peace grows, even as structure changes. Alignment is working if clarity gets better, even as certainty gets weaker. Fear needs answers right away. Alignment builds trust without giving away everything. Chosen One, you don't have to tell anyone about this phase. The explanation is from earlier seasons. This one is for discernment. When you don't defend yourself as much, authority takes over. People in power don't argue. It stands still and moves quietly. At this point, provision also starts to move around. Not quite as sudden an overflow yet, but stability where chaos used to be, consistency where change was the norm, and support that doesn't need to be drained. These are signs of things to come. Heaven doesn't throw a wild celebration unless everyone is ready for it. Anointed One of the maple leaf. Pay attention to how the choices you make are changing. You don't make decisions based on how quickly they need to be done anymore. You pick based on how things line up. You don't say yes to ease your pain anymore. Saying yes means that something really hits you. This change is quiet but strong. This is a safe way for capacity to grow. This has a gentle but important warning in it. Do not mistake quiet for not doing anything. Do not rush to make things move just because they seem to be still. This stillness is planned. It lines up timing on layers that you can't see yet. Alignment makes room for you, not just around you, Chosen One. Old responses become less strong. Old triggers become less strong. You answer instead of reacting. That internal space is what makes it possible for external movement to continue. You are getting close to the point where what you have been carrying inside starts to affect the outside world. Not all at once or in a big way, but over time. What you've turned into is about to show itself from coast to coast. Keep an eye out. Don't move around. Don't worry about how it has to look. Chosen One. There comes a time when alignment doesn't stay inside you. It starts to show up in the outside world. Not because you say so, but because being there sends a message. People will react to you in new ways before they understand why. Tone of voice changes. People pay more attention. After you speak, there is silence. This isn't ego. Yes, this is resonance. Recognized One. Praise doesn't always come in the form of praise. It often comes as an observation. People who watch you more than talk, ask you questions without finishing them, and quietly measure you. This is how people first notice change. The field around you changes when alignment settles deeply. Some people can feel it, but can't put their finger on it. As the Chosen One walking on Canadian soil, you need to be humble more than ever. Not hiding or shrinking, but staying put. As much as isolation tests alignment, visibility tests it even more. When there is more attention, there is more temptation. The desire to tell, show, or prove something. Don't do it. Power that is safe doesn't need to be strengthened. Beloved, not everyone who sees you is meant to walk with you. Discernment needs to stay strong here. Alignment is not the same as interest. Access does not come from admiration. Some people will be interested in what you carry, even though they aren't ready to honor it. That doesn't mean they are bad. They aren't ready for it this time. You don't need to be in charge of this. Heaven is already there, chosen one. This is also the time when natural leadership starts to show itself across this vast nation. Not leadership based on rank, but leadership based on stability. Some people may come to you for help without knowing why. They might move at the same speed, be as calm, or ask you how you stayed steady when things weren't clear. This is not a mistake. You are becoming something to use as a guide, honored one. Being a leader at this level isn't about giving answers. It has to do with embodiment. People are more interested in how you move, how you handle stress, how you stay quiet, and how you choose to act without reacting. Chosen one of the North, what you're going for now isn't just more. This is your duty. Heaven doesn't use desire to figure out if we are ready. Stewardship is used to measure readiness. Before something can grow, it has to be held inside without changing. When people reach for something that hasn't settled yet, they often trip. As the anointed one, stewardship is less noisy than ambition. It's not about how fast this can grow, but how stable it can stay. It's not how much I can hold that matters, but how well I can carry. What is coming at you is meant to bless you, not hurt you. That's why this stage is so important. Anointed one, being humble doesn't mean you think less of yourself. It means being clear about your role. You are not the source. You are just a vessel. As soon as you forget that, stress starts to build. Flow comes back as soon as you remember it. Being aware of this keeps power clean. It keeps the provision in line. It keeps the effect from getting too strong. Chosen one, there comes a time when preparations end without any warning, sign, countdown, or big change that you can point to. Something just settles inside you, and once it does, you can't help but move. This is where you cross, not from work to reward, but from becoming to expressing yourself. O anointed one, the final alignment doesn't feel like it will go off. It seems to be settled. The inner argument is over. The need for reassurance goes away. You no longer want to know if the time is right. The reason you're responding is that it is. This moment is neither rushed nor put off by heaven. It comes when you are stable enough to move without breaking. Yes, anointed one dwelling from the Atlantic to the Pacific, now is the time to say it without telling anyone or yourself why. A quiet yes, an honest yes, or a yes that doesn't put on a show. This yes has power because it doesn't want to be validated. It means that you agree with what you already know. Do not wait until you are more sure. Stability comes after movement, not before it. As you walk, trust grows. Provision sets itself up as you commit. Support is built on obedience, not on expectation. When this message ends, chosen one, know that nothing that was said here was late or too early for you. You are in your Kairos moment, which is the time that God chose for you to make plans and get permission to do them. When everything is in place, heaven doesn't wait. Once something starts moving, it can't be stopped. The things that have been given to you will happen in the exact amount that you are willing to handle. You who have been anointed, take this as proof. The change has already started, not just in circumstances, but also in clarity, power, and inner stability. Move forward with thanks instead of hurry. Stay faithful in the little things. Stay alive in the quiet. And stay thankful even before you can see the results. Picked one of Canada, go forward with your back covered, sure and clear. What came down from heaven will meet you on the way. Walk in peace. Walk with divine authority. As you walk, remember that the season has changed and that you are exactly where you should be. You did not find this message by accident. This is a divine appointment meant specifically for you. My beloved of Canada, if this message has touched your soul, subscribe to this channel so you do not miss the next message of Archangel Michael. Share this word with any Canadian who needs to hear it right now.